But
Right.
so let's jump on now, Jack. You mentioned stress in health and wellness, your health and wellness section, but you also it dovetails right into mental attitude. What are you saying about mental attitude as that's very important for a retiree?
Well, mental attitude is actually the section of the book that is not only my favorite part of the book, but is really the one that's near and dear to my heart, because I've seen so many people who have retired and they've bought into a lot of these stereotypes of retirement.
And what are those?
You know, grumpy, you know, sit around the house, you know, you're going to lose friends, give up on life, those types of things.
And they fall into a depression.
Right, and the reality is there are so many studies out there, and as a researcher, I spend a lot of time taking a look at the studies that are out there, and the studies are, the numbers are just staggering in terms of saying that if you have a positive mental attitude,
right,
a positive approach to life, you're going to live longer.
Right.
It's you know, we know it's all common sense, we know it works, but it's like, how do we do that?
That's right. So how do we do it?
Well, having a positive mental attitude involves a lot of different things.
Right.
And we go through a number of different approaches there. One of the things is, now that you're retired, it is now the time for you to kind of enjoy your passions.
Take it down. Take your deep breaths, meditate, enjoy something that you would love to do.
Exactly.
All right? Because then you don't view it as work.
Right.
What a novel concept, huh?
Right. You're now away from the environment that, for most of your life, created a lot of stress.
Okay,
work.
yeah, that's true.
Now you're able to do what you want to do. The important thing with a mental attitude is understanding what is it that brings you joy and happiness in your life. What is your passion? So it's very important for you to spend the time to figure out what that is. The transition to retirement should include really a self-assessment of what you want to do, what is important to you,
right,
and how you can go about doing it.
Right.
And a big part of it is being involved with others. We talked about that in the last section.
Right.
But being involved with others is not just about, you know, going out and getting involved in the community. It's also recognizing that this is an opportunity to connect with people that maybe you haven't connected with in a while.
That's true.
Maybe it's your children, maybe it's your grandchildren.
Right.
Whatever. All those different types of things. You now have the ability to get out there and to find the joy and the happiness in your life. And if you do that and you find that purpose in your life, the studies prove you will live longer.
But you know, a lot of people they don't come to that point, Jack. They get there, they work, right? What they would consider work, or what we would consider work. Like, you know, we're both entrepreneurs now, and we're fortunate, and I say it was fortunate because we're not at that retirement age, right, quote to speak, but we were fortunate to get away from that rat race and actually do what we love to do while we still have hopefully a lot of time in front of us, right?
Right.
So, but a lot of times when people get to that 55, 60, they still don't know what their passion. Right. I've asked them, do you know what your passion is? I don't know. Well, and I asked them the question, and you probably have heard this. What is it that you would love to do? If you could do anything in the world, what is it that you would love to do and you would do it for free?
Right. It's a great way of looking at it. That's a great way of looking at it.
Right?
Yep, absolutely.
And it gets them thinking.
Absolutely. And a big part of this is also recognizing that the people around you are part of your life.
Okay.
And it's not so much that you're going to find a passion that is just for yourself.
Right.
We've found a lot of people, and in fact, once again, going back to the studies, the ability to give and give of yourself, a time or whatever, for a lot of people brings them joy and happiness.
That would be the
volunteer.
That would be the volunteer aspect, correct?
Well, that's a big part of it also, but it's also something that even in the mental attitude, just being involved with your church community and things of that nature, or even just going out and finding opportunities, or also giving of your time to your children or grandchildren. A lot of times, retired people think, oh well, you know, I don't want to impose upon my children or grandchildren.
That's right. You don't want to be a burden.
And the reality is, there's ways that you can do this to make it fulfilling for everybody.
Right.
They want to do that, and that will raise your mental attitude, and that will, in essence, bring love back into your life.
You mentioned super attitude. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, in the, do you mind if I take a look?
No, it's 201, on page 201.
There's so many, there's a big big part of this, which I just really love, because a lot of this is built upon. I bring into play a number of different people into the book. One of the people that I really admire is a gentleman by the name of Brian Tracy, who is a big self-help guru.
Oh, sure.
And his big aspect here is that you really want to take a look at what's important to you.
That's right.
What's important to you, and like you said, what are you really out there looking for that
What's
is
your purpose?
Exactly.
Right.
And you've got to remember, in retirement, things are going to happen. You're going to lose friends, you're going to lose family, things of that nature. So it's very important that you have the proper attitude, because something can happen to you in your life and it can really cause you to stumble, cause you to fall. But if you don't have the proper attitude, you're not going to rise up and you're not going to survive from it.
And then you fall into that level of depression, which is very hard to rise from.
Right, and we talk a lot about depression here, but one of the premises that Brian Tracy has is that there's 4 steps. One is to get this proper super attitude is really to focus on the future.
Yes.
Don't spend time thinking about the past or blaming people
Shoulda,
or
coulda,
regret.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Yeah, it's exactly.
It already happened. It's spilt milk, y'all. Let it go.
Right. It's a huge thing, and to a certain extent, now that you're retired, thinking about the past, there's good aspects to it.
Right.
Because in the book we talk about telling your story, writing down your story for other generations. It's a huge part of it. But in terms of your attitude, you want to think about what's happening ahead.
Right.
Because if you think about the past and you start blaming yourself and feeling bad for things in the past, it's not going to improve your attitude.
No, and your self-confidence is going to go way south.
Right.
Right.
And another aspect in here is to really focus on the solution. We're going to run into problems. I'm a big believer. My daughter will tell you, I'm a big believer that there's a solution to everything.
That's right.
No problem is insurmountable. There is always a solution. And as a retiree, you hope that you have the clarity of thought to really focus in on finding the solution. Getting away from what the problem is and really focusing in on what the solution is.
And then you said something about look for the good?
Look for the good. You've got, basically, things are going to happen to you. Situations are going to happen to you. You've got to find the good in all the situations.
Right.
Okay. There's
that silver lining, Jack,
exactly.
that our elders used to talk about.
Right. We talked earlier about certain things that maybe may have slowed us down because of injuries and things of that nature.
Yes.
And you've got to kind of say, well, what was the good? Did that allow me to slow down a little bit and spend a little time with people who needed me?
Right.
So there's looking for the good in every situation.
Okay.
You need to spend the time to find what's good versus just falling into what's bad. And the last part of it ties right in, which is to seek the valuable lesson. What have I learned from this?
Okay.
What has been the lesson? Because as a retiree, you're still learning.
Right.
So life presents to you certain situations, and it also provides you lessons that you learn from all of this. So those 4 aspects, and I love it, and as I mentioned, Brian Tracy came up with these things. I include in the book because I think it really helps you to, like you say, come up with that super attitude. We spent a lot of time talking about different approaches to improving your mental attitude.
Right.
It's just so huge for people to just be positive, live life, and be happy in living.